Hello, my friends. Youre, Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Man Cave. Thank you for joining me for another play along. This will be number 26. But before we get into it, I got a little bit of business to conduct. First thing is that most of you who've been following along in the vlogs and things know that I have a whole bunch of instruments in from Richard Brown, his estate. He was a friend of mine, and his widow Nellie called me and asked me to auction off all of his instruments. Well, it's a big undertaking. I've got the first batch of them I've looked through, and that's like 20 guitars, I think it is. So there's probably that many more mandolins and fiddles and things like that, and maybe a record collection and who knows what else. Well, I got the first thing up on the auction site today, as a matter of fact, this afternoon, and I want to just play this little short clip real quick so you can see that. The guitar has a really good sound. I think you can probably hear that. The action is just maybe a little on the high side down here. Up here it feels perfectly fine. Other than that, seems like a pretty solid guitar. Now that particular guitar has no label. I'm assuming it's a Fender acoustic because it's got like a Fender peg head, but that's about the best I've got. I don't honestly know what kind of guitar it is. I looked through it with a mirror and lighted mirror and stuff on the inside, tried to find some clue, but I'm just guessing that's what it is, but I don't know that for sure. But I do know for sure that guitar has a really good sound. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, Sue and I were already talking about maybe bidding on it ourselves, and you know, if it doesn't go too high, we would purchase it and put it up there in the rental retreat for people that comes in that just wants to play a guitar. So I don't know. We're thinking about buying it, but I doubt we will, because honestly, we got more instruments than Carter's got liver pills as it is. Well, anyway, that's enough on that. But if you do want to check that out, I started to say I put a link in the description, but I don't think I did for a couple of reasons. But anyway, I didn't put a link in today's description, but I will definitely put a link in tomorrow's description of the vlog video. But it's easy to find. You just go to rosastringworks.com, and then you click on the shopping page, and then you go down till you see the gavel, which is an auction item. You'll see a little symbol of a gavel, you know, going to hit down on something like it's going to hit on the plate, and then that would be the auction item there, and you can look at that guitar online that way. Okay, getting into the requests and things that we had for tonight, we had like 8 requests. Well, actually, we had more than that, but I picked out 8 that I feel like I can get across and do, and hopefully I can do them well enough. This very first song, I don't know it at all. Well, I mean, I didn't know it until I learned it today. It's called Build My Mansion by Gene Watson, I guess, is the one that did this song. I don't know. Well, I think somebody said Dottie Rambo wrote it. I don't know who wrote it for sure. I'm going to do this in the key of D, dog, and it's just D, G, and A. So it's 1, 4, and 5 is all it is, and it starts off right on the 4. So and we're starting off on the chorus, and often a chorus starts on the 4. So that's why that is. So here we go. Build my mansion next door to Jesus, and tell the angels I'm coming home. It doesn't matter who lives around me, just so my mansion sits near the throne. I have no castles, no earthly kingdom, but this cabin will do till I get home. My mansion's yonder on the hills of glory. Oh, I hope my mansion sits near God's throne. Just build my mansion next door to Jesus and tell the angels I'm coming home. It doesn't matter who lives around me, just so my mansion sits near the throne. My mother's mansion may be close by me, across the golden avenue. She was the first one to teach me of heaven, and the very first one to tell me about you. So build my mansion next door to Jesus and tell the angels I'm coming home. It doesn't matter who lives around me, just so my mansion sits near the throne. It doesn't matter who lives around me, just so my mansion sits near God's throne. Well, there you go, Dottie. I did the best I could. It's the best I could do on short notice. Let's see. That is a pretty song. I just didn't know that song. I don't believe I ever heard that one before. I have something like, I don't know, it's just old man's throat is all it is. It's just, I don't know, it's just stuff keeps draining, and it's going to make it really tough to do Kentucky Waltz when I get there, because I'm singing it in a key that's too high anyway. So, what was that guy's name I was going to tell you that does that song? Or he did it on, I can't, I should have wrote it down because I can't remember names for nothing. You know that already. Well, and I wrote this one down because I can't remember this name either, except for the fact that it's a title of the song. It's called Colleen Malone. We're going to do that next, and that's going to be in the key of D also. This is, again, 1-4-5, so it's D, G, and A, but this one also has an E. So that's a 2 chord out of D. That's a 2 chord because it's 2 notes higher than your 1. So that's your 2 chord. And then where do you go after you play a 2 chord? You almost always, and I say almost always because it's not 100%, but it's pretty close. You almost always go to a 5, which would be down to your A. So after we play that E, you can pretty much bet we're going to go down to A. But I'm going to kick this one off on the mandolin, or try to. The hands are really sore tonight. This is just aching like crazy. I vibrated it and did everything I could to try to treat it, but I'm just do the best I can. Here we go. It's been 10 years and 3 since I first went to sea, since I sailed from old Ireland and home. But those hills lush and green were a part of my dream, as I dreamed of my Colleen Malone. On the day I returned to my sorrow, I learned that the angels had called me away. Her away, sorry. to a grave on the hill overlooking the mill. That is where she is sleeping today. As the soft breezes blow through the meadow, I go past the mill with the moss-covered stone. Up the pathway I climb through the woods and the vine to be with my Colleen Malone. She was faithful each day as I sailed far away. There was no one but me that she loved. I remember those eyes soft and blue as the sky, and her heart was as pure as a dove. All the days of my life I shall not take a wife. I will live in this valley alone, planting flowers around in the soft, gentle ground that is holding my Colleen Malone. As the soft breezes blow through the meadow, I go past the mill with the moss-covered stone. Up the pathway I climb through the woods and the vine to be with my Colleen Malone. Up the pathway I climb through the woods and the vine to be with my Colleen Malone. What I do better than anybody is make mistakes. That's what I do better than anybody. That's the only thing I think I do better than anybody. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Paul, I think his name is Paul something that does this song. He does it with Ricky Skaggs and different people like that, and he kills on this song. Well, I'm about to kill on it also, but I'm gonna actually do the literal killing here. So be sure your life insurance policy's up to date before I start this one. I'm gonna do this in the key of E, and don't ask me all the chords on this one. I think it's just 1, 4, 5. And I think it's a 2, and there's also a 6. So so the 1 is going to be E. The 4 will be your A. The 5 will be your B. Your 6 will be your C sharp, and your 2 will be your F sharp. After you go to that F sharp, you know where you're going. You're going to go down here to that. At least I think so. Although on this one, this one's a little different. I ain't making no promises on this one. All right, so I'm going to kick it off with a full instrumental, or at least try to, and then we'll start singing. That'll give you a warning. We were waltzing one night in Kentucky beneath the beautiful harvest moon, and I was was the boy that was lucky, but it all ended too soon. And as I sit here alone in the moonlight, I see your smiling face, and I long once more for your embrace and that beautiful Kentucky waltz. And as I sit here alone in the moonlight, I see your smiling face, and I long once more for your embrace and that beautiful Kentucky waltz. It's just a hair too high. And why didn't I do it in a lower key? Because I can't play it like I can play it in E. I learned to play that song in E because that's where Kenny Baker played it. Nobody else played it there. Everybody else played it in the key of D, you know, pretty much. Now, Paul Brewster, who is somebody, I thank you for bringing that up, said that it was Scott Roberts. I see there it says Paul Brewster sang it. Well, thank you, Scott. Yes, that was the person I was talking about, and he kills on that song. I mean, if you haven't heard him sing it, you need to go listen to him sing it on the Country Family Reunion. Oh my gosh, he just kills on it. It's just perfect the way he does it. Me, not quite. I wouldn't call it perfect. I just did the best I could with what I had to work with. Now we're going to go to my retirement song, and we're going to dedicate this to Michael 2X down there. So, Michael, here you go. Let me tell the story on this one. This is a song that I wrote. I was able to get an early retirement from Southwestern Bell, AT&T, SBC, Telecom. I worked for all of that. And I was in the headquarters at SBC toward the end there. It's now back to AT&T again. But anyway, in fact, SBC bought AT&T and then took the name back over. But anyway, that's another side story. But I was in the headquarters there. I worked with the big shots a lot. And I wasn't a big shot, though. I mean, I was a peon working with the big shots. Or I should say for the big shots. Anyway, when I got my early retirement, you know, I couldn't wait to get out of there. I mean, I always did a good job. I did the best I could, but I always wanted out. It just wasn't me. It really wasn't me. I was designing systems for them and all those kinds of things. I was a second line manager. Just, you know, I had a lot of responsibility, all that, but it just wasn't me. And I could not wait to get out of there. And when I finally did, I was so happy I wrote this song. I sang it at my own, well, actually, I sang it before I left because I didn't come back for my own retirement party. I just sang it before I left to all the people in my group there. And, well, actually in the whole division area there was a whole bunch of people. But anyway, then after that, other people were wanting me to sing it at their retirement. So I went all over the building singing it at different people's retirements. A whole bunch of us retired at the same time because it was an early retirement deal. And I think I sang it at 4 or 5 different retirements. So I hope you like it. Here we go. It's in the key of B. All right, this one's 1-4-5 again, so it's going to be B, E, F sharp, and I honestly can't remember it, but I think there's a 2 in it also, and if there is, that would be your C sharp again. Well, I don't know. That's best I can remember. I changed my whole life, no more corporate strife. I put the alarm clock away in the drawer. No more conference calls, and no meetings in the halls, and no business to conduct in a bar. And no self-serving boss, nor the threat of the loss of the paycheck that I've earned 8 to 5. 'Cause I'll be out on my ranch where I can reach the first branch of that corporate tree grown from on high. I don't own it, I just manage its worth. It's a small slice of heaven placed down here on earth. I care for his trees and I water his sod. I don't own it, I just rent it from God. Now I know they won't miss me when I tell them I'm history, but that's okay, for I've got a plan. And there'll be no regret, no hard feelings nor debt. We're all doing the best we can. So here is my last word. Some may think it absurd, but I know that someday you'll find that it's better to leave than to stay and to grieve. Instead of a paycheck, you'll have peace of mind. I don't own it, I just manage its worth. It's a small slice of heaven placed down here on earth. I care for his trees and I water his sod. I don't own it, I just rent it from God. And where that song, where the title or the what do you call that? The tagline or whatever you want to call it, the I don't own it, I just rent it from God. That line came from a friend of mine who kind of tricked me. I was over at his farm at a jam session. It was a whole bunch of people went over there. It was a big picnic-like thing, picnic atmosphere, outdoors and everything. A whole bunch of people there. And his name was Ed, and right now I can't call his last name. But anyway, I said to him, I said, well, Ed, how long have you owned this farm? And of course, he set me up. He says, I don't own this. I said, you don't? I thought you owned this farm. He goes, oh, no, I don't own it. I just rent it from God. So that's where the line came from, right there. Let's see. Let's go to another request was Brother John. This is honestly one of my very favorite songs to play and sing, at least when I could play and sing it. Can't guarantee anything right now. All right, here we go. Now this one's got a lot of chords, and it switches really fast. So good luck if you're playing along. It goes like, let me just give you a quick run through of the chords one time. It's in A minor, so that's your one, actually, is your A minor. So it goes A minor, F, C, E, A minor, F, C, E, A minor, F, C, C, E, A minor. So the third time through there, it holds the C twice and then the E twice and then back to A minor. And then on the chorus, it goes right. It's got the same chords in the chorus except that it starts on a D, dog. That's the only time it hits the D is right where it starts in the chorus. So it's a little tricky tune, but we're going to give it our best shot. Brother John was a poor, hard-working man. His life was hard, but he does the best he can. He prays to God just to thank him for his bread and the roof over his head. Brother John lost his wife when the fever came around. A gentle girl, oh, we laid her in the ground. She was his life. matter dying hit him hard, till he heard the voice of God. Brother John, trouble on earth is ending. All your sorrows soon will be gone. You were a good man, you did all you could, and they're calling you home now, Brother John. Late one day, he was working in the field. The sun was low, and the earth was cool and still. He heard his wife calling, "Come join me now." And he fell beside the plow. Brother John, trouble on earth is ending. All your sorrows soon will be gone. You were a good man, you did all you could, and they're calling you home now, Brother John. Trouble on earth is ending. All your sorrows soon will be gone. You were a good man, you did all you could, and they're calling you home now, Brother John. It ends on an A, oddly enough. I don't know why they did that, but they did. And I had it a little backwards there. It should have been A minor, A on the ending. I kind of screwed that up a little bit, but I got close. Well, I don't do this song anymore because it's hard to keep the band up to speed on a tune like that unless you play it with them all the time, and I rarely see them. I see them once a month, just like right here, occasionally at the jams, local jams, but they're usually off gone somewhere, and they're usually not at the local jams. So anyway, I better just look at the comments quickly to make sure there's nothing else going wrong here. Or besides just me. I know I'm going wrong. Okay, well, I don't see any real negative comments. Let's see. Vine Covered Church was another request by Dottie. And like I said, what Dottie asks for, Dottie gets. It's in the key of A. This is the song I wrote about that. It's backwards, that church right there. Hard to point to stuff in this camera. Anyway, I wrote it about that little church. That church picture was taken in the wintertime, and that was printed on a dot matrix printer, and it's faded bad. But it is kind of bluish color there, kind of like blue coal, But it is, if you can look up close to the picture, it's got some vines on the church. Even in the wintertime, you can see some of the vines. But they gave me that picture after they had heard I wrote this song. When I was playing down in that area, some people came up on stage and awarded me that picture, which I thought was pretty cool. So it's in the key of A. It's A, D, and E. And I think there's a 2-chord in it also. And I think that's it. So it's A, D, E, and the 2-chord would be your B. 1, 4, 5. At least I think that's all there is to it. I can't keep my own songs. I have more trouble remembering what the chords are than the other ones. You won't find it on a well-traveled highway. It's not even on a dusty gravel road. And you have to want to be there when you find it, 'cause it's not on any maps I know. Out across the field through the pasture, you climb along a steep and rocky trail. When you cross that little creek in the valley, you'll see that vine-covered church on the hill. That vine-covered church above the valley. where the congregation gathered to pray, built with their hands from the forest, now stands as a marker for the grave. The siding and shingles are tattered, the steeple leans slightly to the right, and though all the windows were shattered, you can still hear them singing at night. The brothers and sisters who worship, they gather in this holy place still, though they lie at rest in the valley, beneath that vine-covered church on the hill. That vine-covered church above the valley, where the congregation gathered to pray, built with their hands from the forest, now stands as a marker for the grave. It still stands as a marker for the grave. And of course, I've told the story many times, but the very, very first time we ever played it, a man met me at the bottom of the stairs coming off the stage and says, "Son, boy, I like that song about the vine-covered church." He says, "But do you know you have to change the words?" And I said, "What? Why would I need to change the words?" He goes, "You mean you don't know?" And I said, "I don't know what." And he says, "Well, they just tore that church down yesterday." Now, it just sent chills through me. I'm not kidding you, because it was just like the song was meant to keep the little church alive, because I sang it the day after they tore it down. And, the very first time I ever sang it. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, this next tune was requested, "Crying My Heart Out Over You." Now, I haven't done this song since Hector was a pup. I'm not kidding you. I have no idea how long it's been since I've sang this song, but I didn't have to look up the words. I still knew them, or at least I think I do. It may be Alzheimer's here, and I may be singing the wrong words. Might even be singing the wrong song, for all I know. We're going to do this one closer to the way Ricky Skaggs did it. He probably even put more chords in it than I'm going to put in it, but I'm putting in an extra chord in this song that most people that play it these days do not put in there. And that extra chord is an A minor. So it's going to be G, C, D, and there's going to be an A minor in several places. So kind of watch for the A minor. That looks like that right there. That's your G, C, and D, and then the A minor. Okay, so here we go. Off somewhere the music's playing soft and low. Here we go. For another holds the one that I love so. I was blind and could not see that she meant the world to me. But like a fool I stood and let her go. Now I'm crying my heart out over you. And those blue eyes, how they smile for someone new. Ever since you went away, I cry a little more each day. Now I'm crying my heart out over you. Each night I climb the stairs up to my room, and it seems I hear you whisper in my gloom. I see your picture on the wall, and I hear your footsteps in the hall, while I'm crying my heart out over you. Now I'm crying my heart out over you. Those blue eyes, now they smile for someone new. Ever since you went away, I cry a little more each day. Now I'm crying my heart out over you. Oh yes, I'm crying my heart out over you. There you go. That's a little closer to how Skaggs did it. He put that minor in there, I'm sure of that, and he may have put another chord or two in there. I don't know for sure on that. And Michael Tuick says, I got to write these chords down. Well, it's just that extra A minor, and you go to it in two places, which you can just go to it in one place, but I like to put it in both of those places in the song, and it just pretties it up, it just makes it pretty, makes it smooth sounding, and makes it just a real nice transition. All right, well, the last request that I have on my list here was for a Merle Haggard tune. And so I've got a bunch of Merle Haggard tunes that I could do, but I really like to do Mama Tried. So we're going to do that one. That's in the key of D. Now the chord that often, I hear so many people don't put in the chord that goes there in the chorus, and that's a B minor, which is your 6 minor, which is your standard normal kind of minor. It's kind of normal. It's not an unusual minor. So we're in the D. D is 1, G is 4, A is 5, and then your B minor is your 6 minor. So you watch for that 6 minor in the chorus. That's where that belongs. It'll come in on the chorus. I'm going to kick this one on the mandolin a little bit, I think. If I can get my strap pulled up here a little bit where I can get to it here. All right, here we go. Got to remember how I kick it. First thing I remember knowing was a lonesome whistle blowing and a youngin's dream of growing up to ride on a freight train leaving town, not knowing where I'm bound. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried. A one and only rebel child from a family meek and mild. My mama seemed to know what lay in store. In spite of all my Sunday learning toward the bad, I kept on turning till Mama couldn't hold me anymore. And I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried. Mama tried. Mama tried to raise me better, but her pleading I denied. That leaves only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried. Dear old daddy, rest his soul, he left my mom a heavy load. She tried so very hard to fill his shoes. She was working hours without rest. She wanted me to have the best. She tried to raise me right, but I refused. And I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried. Mama tried. Mama tried to raise me better, but her pleading I denied. That leaves only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried. I'm going to do that chorus again, 'cause I didn't do it that well. And I turned 21. I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried. Mama tried. Mama tried to raise me better, but her pleading I denied. That leaves only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried. Yes, that leaves only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried. It's heck to get old. But anyway, that B minor definitely goes there in the chorus. And lots of people just leave that out. And it just ain't the same song without that B minor. You got to have that B minor in there. Well, that's going to be it. Let's go through the comments and see what's up here. David Tharp says, good evening, everyone. Looking forward to some good music. And I replied with, thanks for the vote of confidence. Gino Hitch says, hi, Jerry and friends. Missed the vlog today. Family in from North Carolina. Well, shame, shame, shame. And then Gino says, still looking forward to the good music tonight. Bill Rhodes says, good evening, Jerry. If you have time, I really wish you would do Ralph Stanley, One Drop of Water. I don't have that one down at all yet. It's a little tough for me to get that one, so I can't do it yet, Bill. I might be able to do it by next week. I tried to go through it this afternoon, and I wasn't clicking on it very well. Some songs fit you a lot better than others. Like that Build My Mansion, that was an easy one for me. It just fits. But the One Drop of Water, I think I can do it. It's just that I'm going to have to practice that one. And then Bill says, have you ever tried to sing any Chris Christopherson songs? Yeah, I did for a while. I sang the Darby's Castle. I've done Darby's Castle, but I don't think I have that one committed very well to memory, so I couldn't do it tonight. By the way, I don't read these songs, in case you're wondering. I'm doing them all by memory, and sometimes that works and sometimes it don't. Well, the only one I didn't do by memory was Build My Mansion. That one I did read because I just learned it today. So I read that one, but all the rest of them I just sang from memory. Ronald Todd, good evening, Jerry and everyone from the West Banks of New Jersey. And then David Tharp says, definitely a Dottie Rambo written song, Build My Mansion. Cool. And then Scott Roberts reminded me that it was Paul Brewster. And yes, I know that's who it was, but I couldn't think of that name for nothing, just like always with me. Michael 2X says, fantastic. Well, I'd say, Michael, you're a very forgiving person. The Salmon One says, oh, very nice. Well, thank you. I don't recall seeing the Salmon One here before, but thanks for being here. And Michael 2X is applauding. Scott Roberts says, tip, try not to sing the lead and the harmonies at the same time by yourself. Just saying. Yeah, you could tear something that way. You could definitely do that. Although there has been times where I could actually whistle two notes at once. I don't know if I could do it now, though. No, I can't do that now. I can't whistle at all when I'm on camera for some reason. I tried that the other time and I couldn't do it. I don't know. I guess I get nervous or something. David Tharp says, do Kentucky Waltz again when you're with the whole band. Okay. It would be better with the whole band. You can sing higher with the whole band. That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. So I could probably do that with the whole band. So thanks for asking for that. I'll try to get them to do that. They'll want to do it in D though. They won't want to do it in E. It's tougher to play in E, but that's where I learned it and that's where I like to play it. And that's where Paul Brewster sang it, and he did. Man, he killed on it. I mean, he really did. He just killed on that song. Don Nice says, Jerry, now this is what you call fun. Okay. Scott Roberts says, I love that retirement song. Are you going to sing it at your own funeral? That might be a tough call there. If I could, I would. David Tharp, they might play it on an album though while I'm at my own. You just never know. You might hear it while you're at the funeral home, assuming that they're nice enough to me to put me in a funeral home. That retirement song is very well written song, great story with a beautiful meaning. Well, thank you, David. Michael 2X, thank you. Rosa Meister, you're the best. Well, thank you. Ben Boyd, I've been retired from Tyson Foods. Did you ever hear us play at Tyson Foods down in Arkansas? Bentonville, Arkansas, was it? Or close to Bentonville. We played down there, I think 3 years in a row. We played at some big party they had for Tyson Foods. And Walmart for 7 years, like you, worked in their IS division. I'm 63 now, and the last 7 years have been the best of my life so far. Here's to retirement. Well, cool, Ben. Yeah, I did. My band was, again, my policy, and this is just the truth, my policy was to never, and I mean like not ever, call anybody for a gig. We never did. I never called a single person in all the years I played to ask them if we could play at their show or anything like that. Never did it. But we stayed busy almost every weekend. I mean, there were some years we played over, forget now, I don't want to exaggerate it. I know over 40 weekends for sure. I know we played that. I was going to say 50 weekends, but there's only 52 weekends. But I know for sure we played over 40 weekends in a couple of different years. And we never once called anybody. It was all word of mouth. We just got passed around. There were some weekends where we would play 3 to 4, even maybe as many as 5 shows in one weekend. And a lot of them were just one, like Friday evening, and then maybe Saturday afternoon, then Saturday evening, and then Sunday afternoon, and then, Sunday evening sometimes. I mean, it was crazy. We were playing everywhere. Friday evening, it was nuts. We played a lot. And what was weird was, all the people were always fighting to get into festivals, and we hardly ever played a festival, hardly ever. We played mostly just shows, which paid a lot more money. When you played the festivals, there was always so many different bands begging to get into the festivals that you had to cut your fee a lot to get into the festivals to play those, where these shows, we got pretty much whatever we asked for. Let's see, Scott Roberts, you're recording though. Okay, I don't know what that means. Wait a minute. I skipped somebody. There's Ben Boyd. Then Scott Roberts says, that's it. I'm stealing that retirement song and playing it on the radio station here in Oregon. Feel free to play it. It's on my website there. You can have it. I can send it to you if you don't already have a copy. I'll be glad to send it to you. You're recording though. That's what he's talking about. He's going to play that. Yeah, that'd be fine. I'll be glad to send it to you, but you'll have to remind me probably, or send me an email so I can send it. I'll know your address. Michael 2X, yes, sir. And then Scott Roberts says, good job on Brother John. Well, thank you. Brother John's a tough song. It's a tough one. It's not an easy song to play. It took me a while to get that one down, and I'm not down on it anymore because we don't play it enough. The Salmon one, so cool. You really have that down to a T. Very impressed. Music, vocals, etc. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Salmon one. You should hang around more often. Michael 2X, I got to write those chords down, okay? Tommy says, sounding good, like it. GNP did Marine Shop says, thanks, Jerry. Such a pretty song, crying my heart out over you. Oh, yep. Yeah, it is a pretty song. And then GMP says, nice job with the A minor chord. And then Ben Boyd says, Merle was a nice man. What you say is what you got. What you saw is what you got. Yeah, Merle was cool. I've told the story countless times on here that I got to eat dinner with Merle one night. It was just him and I. It was the coolest thing I ever happened to me. We did our, warm up. We were supposed to open for his band that evening, and I had not met him up to that point, but we did our opening. We did our sound check for the opening. And then as soon as we get done with the sound check, the crew that was there, the stage crew, says, hey, they've got a steak dinner for you backstage for you and your band. So I tell my band, and normally, I'm not making this up, normally they would beat me to anything like that. I mean, like ordinarily, they would run me over to get to that. And I tell them it's a free steak dinner back there, Not a single one of them went back there. It was the weirdest thing. That's probably the only time that ever happened. And so it was meant to be, man. I mean, God had to have his hand in this one because it was just unbelievable how it happened. So I walk back there. I get my steak. Steak and potatoes. That's it, man. And they had steak and they had potatoes. So I, fill up my plate with that. And I sit down at this little table. The table wasn't any bigger around than 3 foot in diameter. Just a little round table. So I'm sitting there eating that. I had barely got a bite in my mouth, and in walks Merle. And he was by himself. Nobody was with him. And he walks over to the table. He picks up his steak and his stuff, and he does what he got some green stuff too. I didn't get any green stuff. And he turns around and he says, "Can I sit with you?" And I said, "Well, heck yeah." And he and I sat there and we ate our steak dinner and talked all for almost a full hour. It was so cool. It was so cool. And he was so polite and so nice and so kind. He really was. It was awesome. It just truly was awesome. Now, on the other side of that coin, if you flip the coin over, there's Patty Loveless. Not so much. We opened for her. I can't say the same thing about Patty. She may have just been having a bad day. I'll just attribute it to that she was just having a bad day. But man, she was a witch on wheels that night. I'm seriously telling you. She didn't want to be bothered with anybody about anything. Okay, fine. But we opened for her anyway. We opened for Louise Mandrell, Jim Ed Brown. I don't know, a whole bunch of them. There at least 5 or 6 more probably. And then we opened at a different venue. We opened for Charlie Daniels, which was the biggest opening we ever did. That was the coolest thing ever. When we got there, it was just they were putting up a brand new stage. I've told this story before. I know I've told it, so some of you have heard it, I know. But anyway, when we got there, it was at a big church, one of these giant churches, and they were putting up this big outside stage. And the stage was the biggest stage I personally have ever seen. I've never been to a rock concert or anything like that. So to me, this thing was enormous. The stage was well over 100 feet wide. It was well over that. I don't know how wide it was, but it was well over 100 feet wide. It's wider. My building down there, my metal building, 72 feet long, and it was wider than that building by a lot. So anyway, and it was 8 feet off the ground. And they had 8-foot tall speakers the whole length of that stage, the whole length of it. It was unbelievable. And then on each end, they had them all the way to the upper top of the stage on each end. So they told me to go up there and do my sound check. So I went up there and I didn't know what I was doing. I went up there on that big stage and hit my mandolin and it went boom out like this. It just was ear piercing. It was incredible. So anyway, we did our opening for Charlie, and then we were putting our instruments away backstage, and there was I'm going to say about 100 people in line. Give or take 20. I don't know how many were in line, but a bunch of people were in line waiting to get his autograph as he come down the stairs out of his bus. Well, anyway, he comes down the stairs. I can see him over my left shoulder, and he's about 50 feet away at least, maybe further. And he says, "Folks, I'll be with you in just 1 second." And he steps off the steps, and he walks right straight over to me, shakes my hand. He says, "Boy, you boys did a good job. I just want to say thank you for doing that." He didn't have to do that. That was so cool of him. Patty Loveless, not so much. Let's see. Moving around. I've already lost my place now. Yeah. Okay. There's the thing about Merle. Okay. Let's see. David Tharp's plotting. Mission accomplished, Jerry. Okay. Craig Solomon, thanks for playing Mama Tried. You're welcome. I like that song. That's a cool song. Talking about a songwriter, old Merle, man, he was good now. Good singer, good musician. He just nailed everything. He was so good. Ben Boyd, I think John Denver's Country Roads in bluegrass style would be an awesome. Well, we can do that next week. No, I take it back. That's not the song that Gary sings. I don't sing it offhand. I mean, I kind of just sing it off the radio like everybody. I mean, I know the song, obviously. I don't know that I can do it very well. I've jammed to it a number of times over the years, but I've never actually sang it and lead with it. But if it's possible, we'll do it next week with the band here. Let's see. Scott Roberts says, I'll email you again with my email address to get that MP3 file on the retirement song, but you rarely check your email these days. Well, go ahead and email me, and I will check it yet tonight. Let's see. GNP Old Marine Shop. Merle could play decent fiddle, too. Yes, he was very good on the fiddle, really. I was impressed on some of the stuff I heard him do. Scott Roberts, I just sent you the email. Cool. Okay. Ben Boyd, Sierra Hull is just like Merle. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, Sierra Hull's incredible. On the mandolin, she's, as far as I'm concerned, she's as good as you can be on a mandolin. I'm not saying she's the world's best mandolin player. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that she's as good as anybody on the mandolin. That she's as good as anybody. I don't care who you point out. Even Chris Thiele, who is just nuts on a mandolin. I mean, like the guy he's so far ahead of everybody else that you can't even understand what he's doing. But Sierra Hull does not take a back seat to Chris Thiele. That's how good she is. Let's see. GNP Old Marine Shop. Charlie was one of my mentors. Love him. Caballo Diablo still gives me chills. Okay, I don't know that song offhand, though. Merle was a gem. Yeah, he really was. And you might say, well, it's because you got to eat dinner with him. Why he's your favorite? No, he was my favorite before. And when they said we got to open for him, I was like, are you kidding me? We get to open for Merle Haggard? Are you kidding me? I was like just jumping beside myself. David Tharp, believe it or not, a lot of the Beatles songs sound great in bluegrass. Yeah, and I've heard a number of them. Well, even Yellow Submarine's been done bluegrass style. There's been a bunch of them done bluegrass style. I've never done any of them that I can remember. Michael 2X, That's the Way Love Goes. Merle made that song his. I don't know if I can do that one anymore. I haven't done that in a long time. I think I did it once on one of these play-alongs maybe, but it's been a while since I've done it. I do it in G. So I probably don't get all the chords on this. In fact, I know I don't on the intro. The intro has a bunch of chords in it that I don't put in there at all. So anyway, I'm going to do what I can of it. I've been throwing horseshoes over my left shoulder. I spent most all my life searching for that four-leaf clover, yet you ran with me, chasing my rainbow. And honey, I love you too. That's the way love goes. That's the way love goes, babe. That's the music God made for the whole wide world to sing. It never gets old, it only grows. Losing makes me sorry. You say, honey, don't worry. And honey, I love you true. That's the way love goes. And honey, I love you true. That's the way love goes. I think Johnny Rodriguez is the one that echoed or yodeled that ending, but But Merle, he's hard to beat when it comes to any song, really. Once he sings one, it's been sung. You don't need to sing it anymore. Let's see. GMP Old Marine Shop. Like your planned Phantom Horse song. I better practice that one. Maybe I can do it next week, but honestly, I need to. That one, for whatever reason, I have trouble remembering my lines on that song. You know, I've said this before. The songs that I stumble the words on more than any other songs are the songs that I wrote. And it's probably because I wrote so many different variations of lines as I was writing the song. That might be part of it. I don't know. But I stumble on my own songs more than I stumble on anybody else's songs. But I'll try to remember to do that next week, too. I should be writing these down because there's a whole bunch of them. Wow. I should write them down because I'll forget them for sure. Phantom, Country, Roads, the Ralph Stanley tune, one Drop of Water, and those are the three I can remember. Let's see. He says, Scott Roberts says, I need to hear David Frizzell's version. I probably have. I don't remember. Johnny Rodriguez, yes, indeed. Top notch. Yeah, Johnny Rodriguez was very good, too. Unfortunately, he had a little problem in his own personal life. I don't remember what all happened, but it seemed like he killed a guy or something. It was a mess. Michael 2X, I have trouble remembering any lyrics at all. I don't know how you do it. Well, I don't either, honestly. But generally speaking, I mean, I bet I'm pretty sure, I don't think this is a brag. I'm pretty sure I could sing at least 150 songs by heart. And maybe on a good day, maybe 200. I know I've sat down in jams, and like the one, my record jam was from 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock that evening before I even stood up. No, I take that back. That wasn't right. It was around noon, I think it was, until 9 o'clock that evening before I even stood up one time. I never even stood up. And then I stood up and went to the bathroom, I think, came back, sat back down, and played till like 1 or 2 in the morning. And generally when I do that, I don't ever play the same song twice. You know, it's just kind of an unwritten rule. You just don't do the same songs twice, you know. Let's see. Let's see. David Thorpe says, is the whole band going to be here next Thursday? As far as I know, but then again, I haven't talked to them, honestly, so I need to confirm that. I'll be letting you know before too long. And then Scott Roberts says, that was a rumor about Johnny Rodriguez stole a goat. Maybe, probably not. Well, I'm fairly sure he did something bad. I thought he killed a guy. I could be wrong about that. I don't know about the stealing of a goat. I don't remember ever hearing that part. But I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not saying for sure that that's right. Scott Roberts says, he killed a song, not a man. Well, I don't know. I'm probably wrong about that, but it seemed like he did something that got his tail in a knot. GNP Old Marine Shop has, I've seen many pros nowadays using lyric monitors on stage and their own songs. Yeah, lots of people do that, but I never did. I always tried to do it without anything. Michael 2X, Beverly will be there next week. Hopefully, she's fantastic. As far as I know, she will be, but I could be wrong. I mean, for all I know, nobody will be here. If that would happen, if something happens where the band is just gone or something for next week, I'll get somebody else to come in. I'll get that fiddle player, Tony Smith. I'll get him, or maybe get Cash, or or somebody else local around here. I'll find somebody. We'll get somebody. Belmondo, Johnny Rodriguez passed away last May. Yeah, I heard he did pass away just recently. That's sad. I really like Johnny Rodriguez. I'm not picking on him. I'm not talking him down or anything. I really liked him. He was one of my very favorites. In fact, I don't know if I can do this song. I'll probably screw this up because I haven't done this forever. This old highway seems so lonesome when you're going where you been. And a lonesome song can make you cry time and time again. If I had listened to a friend of mine 10 years ago today, I'd have a better job than what I got today. But the billboards on the highways make lights on the cars make me jump out on the highway with my bag and my guitar. If she comes or if she goes, it doesn't matter anymore, 'cause I'm riding my thumb to Mexico. Riding my thumb to Mexico. It don't matter when or how I go. I'll ride this thumb till I see her again, 'cause I'm riding my thumb to Mexico. Well, the reason why she left me's not the reason that I'm here. I'm a traveling kind of man, just need a change of atmosphere. If there's any place I haven't been at all, that's where I'll go, 'cause I'm riding my thumb to Mexico. Riding my thumb to Mexico. It don't matter when or how I go. I can't remember the chords. I'll ride this thumb till I see her again. Riding my thumb to Mexico. Yes, I'm riding my thumb to Mexico. I'm still riding my thumb to Mexico. Well, I got that close. I couldn't remember the chords very well. But I guess I don't have Alzheimer's because I still remember that. I haven't sung that forever, seems like. How about Yolanda? Well, that's an option too. That would be a good option. So, yeah, I mean, if the band's not here, if the band's going to be here, then it's just too crowded to have everybody. It just gets awkward. Scott Roberts says, now go check your email. Smiley face fiddle girl. Yeah. I haven't seen her in quite a while, actually. Well, I see her at the jams, but that's about it. Ronald Todd, how about Yolanda? Let's see, Scott Roberts. Again, Johnny R. rumors were only AI generated even before AI existed. Well, that's probably true. It's probably true. I don't know. There's something. I'm pretty sure there was something. I don't know what it was, but I'm pretty sure there was something. David Tharp, thumbs up, y'all. Well, thank y'all. It's been fun. Gone well over an hour, so thank you for being here. We'll see you tomorrow at about 1 o'clock on the vlog, and maybe I can bring you up to date on who's going to be here next week. We'll see you then.